Welcome back to Queen Beauty Podcast. We are so excited to give you a special mini self-care series. I'm your host, Elise White.
And I'm your other host, Quandras Sims.
This episode is really going to be back within our main theme where we're unpacking the emotional shifts inside Netflix TV shows that we have all been loving and buzzing and talking about forever and 4 seasons, and how changing your perspective can change your whole life.
I love it. So, in this episode of the mini series, we're going to be talking about the parental perspective, and parents just don't understand. Or do
Spoken in the
they?
true
Do
words.
they really know better? No, I'm joking.
Man, you know what? When I was watching Forever, I was like, parents just don't
I
understand.
know, but you know, it was so tough. It was so tough. I hate to dive right in, but like,
Wait,
I
we gotta tell them. We can't.
okay.
What you about to dive in? What you about to say?
We have to talk about the show in its entirety. Like it's a love story. It's like a teenage love story. And two teenagers navigating love, but in a modern. So you know this was based off of a Judy Blume series.
Yes, I did
So
see that.
yeah, so that was really cool. But
But they made it blackety black.
they blacked it out. They brought it to 2025 with social media. And they represented the culture. It was multifaceted in the way that they showed the culture, I felt like. And they showed different
Can I
types.
just say?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and they show different types of what?
They showed different types of culture within the culture. So I like that. I like that a lot.
I think we were about to say the same thing. I think I appreciated the socioeconomic shifts
Yeah.
on the screen, but not in the way that we're used to seeing them on screen.
Yeah, I feel like we're used to seeing it in like an egregious, over the top, almost satirical way. And it's hard to even see yourself within it.
That part.
And all the time outside of relating it to another movie you might have seen. So I think they did a good job of like coming into like the middle, like in the middle ground of where the average people might find themselves in one of those two roles.
For
Um,
sure.
so outside of the teenage love story, they kind of had the outside world influences, the biggest being like the parents, and how the parents played into what the teenagers were going through, from their
Mm-hmm.
relationship to their school, their after school activities, how the parents played into that. And I thought that was like that was a big deal. And it's funny because it just gave me all the feels when you think about like the teenage love side of it and how you felt in high school. It was like it was a forever love and all of those things.
Right.
But in this episode, us talking about the parental side of it, I also did see the parental side of it because I'm at that phase having had teenagers and having to try to
Right.
help them, at least the oldest, through situations and things like that, where you just like, you seeing things from a parental role now, and it's easy to forget. It's easy to forget how you felt when you were in that situation as a teenager. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And how important certain things were to you. And you just, as a parent, like, no, we're not dealing with that. We got, it's like
Our plan. Justice
our plan.
mom, first of all,
Yes.
when she
Justice
said,
mom
when
was
she
not
said,
here to
we're
play.
following our plan, I was like, that boy ain't never said that was his plan. You forced that plan on that boy. But
Oh my goodness. Like it was a
but I
lot
got
of,
it too. Like I understood her passion for it because like
yeah.
you 18, what you doing? It's senior
Yeah.
year. What's happening? Like, right? You can't be in the house you
It's
can't be in the
scary.
house forever.
It's
Wait,
scary.
forever? Look, you can't be in the house
Forever.
forever.
Like that's her forever, right? Is y'all being in his house forever. So no, I get that. And it's just like, and it's weird because it kind of felt like she wants him, she kind of low-key wants him there forever, but she also wants him to be like the
Yes.
way that she was acting, she was about to have him there forever.
Yes.
Because she wasn't really allowing him to grow, and I think that
Yeah.
it's probably a lot of moms that can see that. And it's a hard split when they're like not at his age. He's a little bit older, albeit he had some special needs that he was working through.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a hard split to kind of navigate when they are some days wanting hugs and cuddles and whatever, and then the next day is like, Mom, I know, like, like they're
Right.
completely grown and you don't know
You don't
which,
know what they're receiving. And
you
I
don't know
think
what they're
that's the huge
receiving, what
part.
state they're in at this moment for this decision making process, and you
Yep.
just gonna
Oh,
like,
it's
they still
huge.
babies. That's the truth. You just go and put them in the baby bucket,
Did you brush your teeth today? Like that,
That
you're still having that conversation, probably, right?
like you got to still do these things. So it's hard to see them as young adults. And it was obvious that she was having a hard time seeing him as a young adult.
There
But
was a pivotal spoiler moment that I want to talk about where, I mean, we can talk. I mean, there were so many
there's
ones,
so much. We
but
didn't even talk about the dad yet. Oh, he's amazing. Go on.
he was Justin. We're talking about the boy love interest, Justin, and his
Okay.
dad was awesome. I loved his character, by the way. Let the boy be a man. Let him be a man.
You want him to be a
You
man,
want to
right?
be a man? Let him be a man.
It was really cool. It was cool seeing him, how he interacted with the mom.
For sure. So, without giving too much, there was the core of the show talked about a tape that went viral.
Mm.
That was the girl love interest had a ex-boyfriend. She sent the tape. The tape had her doing some not so fun behavior,
Some intimate stuff that she shouldn't have been doing, and she
some
sent it
intimate
out.
stuff.
Just say
And
what it is.
she sent it to him and he sent it to the world. Well, he sent it to a friend. But
Not
either
Justin. It was an ex. It wasn't. It
ex-boyfriend.
wasn't
It
Justin.
wasn't
It
the
was,
main character
yeah.
love interest. It was an ex-boyfriend. So basically, we're at a point where the love interest characters, Justin and Keisha,
Mhm.
Justin knows her whole life and is meeting Keisha where she's at, which I think is the most beautiful thing in the world. You want to not feel like you have to hide in
Yeah.
any romantic relationship.
Yeah.
And Justin did that for Keisha. From day
Yeah.
like as soon as he found out about it, he was like, "Well, now I know." But he was so just he's just a good kid, and that was a testament to the way his parents were raising him, right?
He actually said that to her at one point
That's where I
when,
was getting to.
yeah.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
exactly that's the point. So you've raised this young man to meet people, to see them beyond the surface, where everybody in the world is taking this viral sex tape out of control, taking it like and judging her immediately and
Judging
not
her.
getting to know who she is as a person.
Right.
This little girl is special. She's athletic. She is a brainiac. Like she's
Hmm.
amazing and she's beautiful, right? But
Right.
all of the she's got all the things going for her. He saw all the things in spite of the mistake.
The mistake. Hmm.
And when the parents found out, there was this automatic thought process
Right.
like that everything should cease and desist. And Justin was like, "You raised me to do this, to see people for who they are and what they bring to the table." And I thought that was the most beautiful element of parents just don't understand, because in reality, that parent is protecting their kids, right? They want their Justin's parents, they don't want him in mess. And all
Yeah.
this looked like mess. And as a parent, it felt like mess. So let's help protect my kid from all this mess.
Yeah.
And he's returning, he's coming from his perspective, like, in this mess is beauty. Do you not see the beauty of all of
Yeah.
who she is?
Yeah. And judging and putting this whole stamp, a scarlet letter, if you will, on her for one mistake that she did when she was 16 years old.
Right.
It just doesn't seem fair. Like she already had gone through so much for that mistake. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? One a mistake that can't be undone. And he like you said, he saw beyond that. And when you say that the mom just wanted to protect her son, it's just like it's interesting because it's the truth. And I think that she kind of did that throughout the whole entire series. All of the things she did, even though it seemed like she was just like what is it called? Helicopter parenting.
She
Just
named it herself. She called herself a so she was in therapy. So we got to see a parent recall themselves in therapy and be told they're
yes,
a catastrophic parenting style. She had
catastrophic
a
parenting
catastrophic
style.
parenting
She
style.
literally, and that I feel like is a lot of what a lot of parents are going through these days, is it like a catastrophic parenting style. not a lot of parents, everybody don't care, but I feel like there's a good amount who are just so nervous of the outcome, and
Yeah,
it's to the own child's detriment. Like it stunts their growth because you're thinking too much for them in a period where they should be making mistakes. You don't want it to be those type of mistakes. You don't want the mistakes to be stuff that can haunt them in their adulthood. But in all safety, things being in place, this is the time to make mistakes. And I believe they said that. This is the time to make
right.
mistakes so you can learn, grow, not get into too much trouble and be better as an adult. And I think that like she just kind of got caught up in that, like in like this very overbearing, protective mama bear type of way. And when I say mama bear, I mean like black bear mama bear. Like if you
Yeah,
come anywhere near my cub and I perceive or think that in the slightest way this is a threat, I'm coming for you. I'm gonna try to maul. I'm gonna
right.
maul you. I'm gonna nothing. No, choir competition is out. We're not doing any of this. Like we're done. And I feel like that was her. That was her style. That's what the catastrophic was. Like she didn't even want to give it a chance to. And I think that's
Yeah,
the beautiful part of where the dad came in was to
he
center
did.
her
He
and to bring
provided
her
great
back
balance.
down out
Yeah,
of that and help his son grow into being a man. That's why dads matter. That's exactly why they matter because
yeah,
mama is going to be a mama. She
yep.
going to protect her babies and she going to see them as babies forever.
Even the
So
the police area. So the
yes.
police discussion. So into your point,
Mm-hmm.
in that scenario, there was a moment in the episode where Justin wanted to go and console Keisha
Yeah.
because she just told her mom about
The tape.
the tape.
Yeah.
And we calling it a tape. It's 2025. It's a video, by the way.
Oh
But it's
gosh.
okay. But we are old millennials and it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. We just called it a tape, but it is what
Tape. I'm like,
it is.
yeah, the tape.
You like
Go
the
on.
tape, sex tape. But like, but even the parents was like, Keisha has a sex tape. Like,
Tape. They were saying it. That's why we're saying it. Thank you. I feel justified. Go
it
on.
is what it is. So rewind. Justin's trying to console his girlfriend because she just told her mama that I got a sex video and
Forcefully. It wasn't my choice.
which is a whole y'all gotta watch. It
Because
was
of
a
the
mess.
parent. The
Because
other
of the parent,
parent. The helicopter
helicopter,
parent.
catastrophic
Her
parent.
mama need to know. Either you telling her or I'm telling her. But go on. I digress.
And I can see both perspectives for
I
things
can. I was
too.
happy.
I did too. Anyway,
Um,
so Justin's like, I gotta be there. You are the one that created this whole thing. Mama, helicopter mom,
yeah.
catastrophic mom. We gonna call her name. Her name was Dawn. She goes and she says, no, you can get stopped by the police. It's nighttime. Don't do it. Mama's perspective is let's just eliminate the
The threat.
potential, the threat, the risk, all let's just not even
Yeah.
play in the sand. Daddy's perspective was like, well, if he gets pulled over, now he got to makes perfect. Practice turns you into a man. What you supposed to do? And then Justin knew exactly what he should do in those
He
moments because
did.
he was able to spit it off freely. Why? Because those parents instilled that information into
Yeah.
him. They knew what it was. And that's why I do appreciate that father parenting style because he was basically like, we've been telling you all this stuff for years. Now test it out. Go out
Yeah.
in the world and test it. Gave him the
Yeah.
space to become an
Yeah.
actual person that they're
Oof.
trying to be instead of just talking about it. I love
Yeah.
that. That was cool to
It
watch.
was very, very cool. And I just again I understand both perspectives. And I know in the mom's brain, he's upset, he's gonna be out there in them
Right.
streets. So I get that and I get the real legitimate fear. She has legitimate reason to be fearful of her son being pulled over by the cops. I like the way just talking over the overarching the writers in the writers room. The writers
Mm-hmm.
room of this show was brilliant because they found tactful ways to bring up the very real life situations that Black moms find themselves in,
Yeah.
trying to navigate wanting your son to be raised right, wanting him to grow, but also scared of the authority that he's going to meet. You know what I'm saying? And then also the dad's presence. There are a lot of dads present who can speak to what's going on. But then that duality of her wanting him to be that man. There was a part where she was like, make sure you treat her right, make sure you're doing the things that you should be doing as a
Yes.
man. And this is one of the things he should be like. She said they were the village, they're gonna work
Right.
through it, and they
This was the
won, and she
time to
already
shine.
was day one of the village, and she was like, "You ain't going out there."
Wait, look, not in my backyard, not my son. That other son could do it. Which brings me to another element, and we're gonna get to Keisha more quickly, but I want to talk about the boy, the male perspective that showed through in parenting first, because we always talk about the women. First of all, we are women, right? Yeah. And so
we see it.
Another area that I thought that the show missed, that I was a little bit disappointed in, was the lack of accountability throughout the entire show that the ex-boyfriend Christian didn't get. He not zero accountability. He was never held accountable. I understand the level of maybe we don't want to press charges, but Keisha's mama talked to Justin's mom. Why didn't Keisha's mama talk to Christian's mom? Because Keisha's mama and Christian's mom were friends because they went to prom together and had a whole bottoms up celebration. So even if there was a level of your decision impacted, because let's not even talk about the fact that I'm digressing. Let's not talk about the fact that Keisha had a sex tape, but Christian was in it, but Keisha had a sex tape.
It was Keisha's sex tape. It wasn't their tape.
Right. It was Keisha and Justin
he owned that.
did something together, but Keisha had a sex tape that she had to deal with by herself. Right. Because Justin is not being held accountable as the male in that, because the dichotomy Christian is, that's the dichotomy of what we live in. It's a double standard. But it's a double standard that they didn't highlight, and I granted it's a movie, they focused on the love part, but I would have loved to see a little bit of male accountability, parental accountability on Christian.
I thought it was going to be too. I'm not going to lie. I didn't think that they were going to take it so far. For a second, I thought that she was going to try to press charges. He was going to lose his scholarship. His life is going to be ruined. And I would have hated to have seen that. And then I was like, oh, maybe she's just going to tell the dad and they're going to just handle this in the streets. I was like,
oh, that would have been cool. I would have loved that.
Like, I thought something like that was going to happen.
And that dad was not above that life.
I didn't think so. Like, I thought that, like, all she got to do is tell the dad, but then that could have been taken too far and I'm dad in trouble.
Now he in jail.
So I guess that's probably why. I feel like there's probably some cut that it got cut out. I feel like they probably, in my mind, in my heart, they addressed it, but they decided they had to cut it.
There is a season 2, so it could be TBD, you know?
What? They can figure out a way to clean that up. Now, I think that when it came to Keisha, speaking of the tape and her having to tell her mom what the mom went through, and parents just don't understand. And we talked about before how when we're going through these situations, we're seeing ourselves in it first. Yeah. We're seeing ourselves in it first. And in this situation, this was a heavy thing for her to have to tell her mom. Completely something that she did. She regretted. That was wrong. And the first thing her mom was thinking about was, me, I raised you right. I'm working a second job to put you in the la, 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 la. I did this.
How could you be so stupid?
How could you be stupid when I raised you right? And it was crazy. I was like, it was cringy, but it was also, it's so very real that, like, when you're upset and you're in that moment of anger where you're just like, you lash out and you only see yourself and your own perspective in it. But I was, again, happy that she did speak, or that Justin's mom followed through to call to check on her. And they talked about therapy, and they talked about her catastrophic parenting style and whatnot. And she opened up to her about that. But again, I did feel like, to your point, I felt like I was left hanging on, so what are we going to do about this? What's next? What are you going to do?
Right, because Keisha was at peace with it. Don't mean that it's not over, because the girl got to go to Howard. It's still out there in the internet. It's going to follow her in Howard. It's going to follow her in her first job. It's going to continue to follow her. And Jesus, that's crazy to think about that, right?
It's just not fair. And it's a very real thing, and it's very scary, because you have these minors, these children, beings with unformed brains, with these devices.
And it's happening earlier.
These devices that are creating life stamps. You know what I'm thinking? Because we tease teenagers a lot these days for their hair is down in their face, and they all wearing hoodies all year round, doesn't matter the temperature. And now I'm thinking, are they doing this because of social media? So, like, just in case they make a mistake, they're not seen.
I can change.
They all blend in. They all look alike. You can't tell who's who. Maybe this is some type of weird subconscious thing to, like, preserve your privacy. I don't know.
You never know. But I think that they did a good job of really unpacking parental styles, because even we'll talk about this. One of the things that I really appreciated was they showcased, I said earlier, the socioeconomic changes and stuff. But
Yeah.
Keisha's mom, she didn't have a whole lot of financial stability.
Yeah.
But she was the mom of the year as far as speaking life into her daughter, right?
Mm.
She raised a very amazing human being who
She
was
did.
salutatorian of her class.
While
Wow.
on the track team, track
Right.
star.
And was just like, right? Phenomenal woman.
Mhm.
That's me. She raised her to be all those things while going through financial hardship, which
Yeah.
was written all over her face because
Yeah.
she even said towards the end, spoiler alert, she felt like she didn't create the environment where Keisha felt safe to share it because Keisha was just in straight protection mode on her mom the entire episode because of her mother's parenting style. And nobody, no parent's perfect, right? But there was a
Yeah.
balance. She gave her so much expectation of excellence that she didn't no longer want to disappoint. And we actually saw that with the boyfriend too, where
Yeah, he didn't
first,
want to
man,
disappoint.
you the first. I was like, oh,
Ooh,
pressure.
that's
First time going
heavy.
to college
Whew.
for the boyfriend, and the dad is crying and just fulfilled and happiness.
And again, writer's room. That's impactful to see a
Yeah,
black man on camera, a black man crying over an achievement of their son in that
yeah,
type of emotional way, where he's talking about generational things being overcome through his son. And it was
yeah.
heavy. And it's like, oh man, he was about to go in there and tell him. And now he can't tell him he don't want to go. He can't tell him.
Right.
How could he?
And then he
And
don't
I
want to go
felt
to
like,
college. By the way, just for those who haven't seen it, he can't tell his parents that he don't want to go to this college, and he
yeah.
about to be the first on his daddy's side to ever go to college. And college is not for him because unlike Keisha, Justin struggles in school, but Justin comes from a well-to-do family where
Who
he
had a
has
lot of
a
money
lot.
to put him
Yeah.
in tutoring, to personal tutors, to do all of these things, to get him to speed, to get him into
Yep.
this collegiate, not well, to get him into a
Yeah.
really
Ivy
good
League or
college
yeah.
that his mom went to, right? So she had also had connections as well. But it's just like, again, from the parents just don't understand, and me from a parental side, he got to this prestigious college and he didn't want to go so that he could make beats. That's how they said it.
Yo, no, they said it the way that everybody says it. At
They
least in
said it the
our
way everybody
generation,
says it.
he make beats. Like that's what they did. That's what they
He
said.
got full rides. Did he get a scholarship?
No, but
Okay,
it's
he
a
got
big deal.
accepted, which was a
Yeah,
big deal because again, he had
he
special
didn't even
needs that
have a
he had to
3.0.
overcome and everything. So that was a big deal for him getting in there. And early admissions and all of that stuff, early decision, just for him to be like, nah, I'm not.
They even highlighted parental athletics too, because that whole, first of all, the whole ideology of parents putting so much emphasis on sports so that you can get this big break and be a superstar. And is that really the goal for student athletes? Or is it to be dynamic as a leader, to work in teams, to know how to work with others in tough and
Mm.
challenging situations? Could it be a balance there more? Or why does it have to be all
Yeah.
or nothing, right?
Yeah, I think that there's a big push on that for maybe the last two generations on, especially for
Mm-hmm.
boys, and athletics. They go hand in hand for them to get into college and do these things. At least that's how I've seen it. I don't
Mm-hmm.
have no data or anything to back that up, but it just seems like it's very heavy on football, very heavy on basketball, the sports, track, whatever. It's heavy on athletics, and it's not as heavy on the other subjects that could help them. Or just like you said, athleticism is great because it does teach you how to be on a team. It teaches you leadership skills. And are we talking beyond athletics? Are we using athletics to something for something else, or are we just talking to them about athletics and not taking it another step? I think the mom was doing that a little bit. She did say that this is your way. Basketball was his way in the door. You know what I'm saying? She literally told him, "You're probably not getting in if you
Right.
don't have the athletics." She was just, I don't know if I'm going to say keeping it too real is real. It is what it is because I think his uncles told him the same thing, which was
But you
hard to
also saw
watch.
the dynamics of that with Keisha's father
Dad,
and
yeah,
his generational woes of foot of baseball and issues
yeah,
with grandfather because of expectations of that grandfather. And when parents put these hardcore expectations on these kids to live out these dreams or live out dreams that they want so bad, whether it's athletics, educational, whatever it is, their dreams became our dreams.
It's almost like you have to be involved as a parent, but you have to also take a beat to listen to what they're saying as what the children are saying so that you can guide them. It's more like,
right.
I don't know, but I think it's more of a guiding situation versus a militant, no, this is what you're doing situation. I think is what we're striving for. But it is, again, it's difficult to do that when you said, to your point, you're still like, did you brush your teeth?
Right.
So it's like, you're going to really trust that they're going to have it all figured out or make really good, strong decisions. And you're still reminding them for these things. So it's like the guidance on just like helping them get there, but not having that heavy pressure on in a way that they have to become this particular thing. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's where it gets a little bit tricky, where parents don't understand. They forgot that they had a life, that they wanted to do things, try some stuff.
I agree. They definitely, it's easy to forget when you get into life.
The run of it all.
Right, all of it, right? So what can you do as a parent? That's a big question, and I'm not a parent, so I'm asking the parent on our podcast. Ooh. What are some checkpoints you can take to when you're evaluating your child at different points to say, am I bringing these expectations down on him or her or my child because I want it to happen for me so I feel good, or that it's that my child needs this because I'm observing that this is what they are into, or this is what they need out of life, or body language. I'm sure body language might be one, but I'm just thinking out loud, what are some ways as parents can we start to figure out if these expectations we're putting on our kids is living for myself or living for them, and trying to balance it to have more guided support?
So for me, I would say this first. I don't speak for all parents, right?
I know.
I don't speak for all parents, but I am a parent. And for me, myself personally, I went to a counselor.
Well, there you go.
I had a therapist to help me through some particular things where I did want to be like, no, this is what we're doing. This is how it's going to go. And I, with the help of professional counsel, right, was able to work through my thoughts and come to what they were saying in the TV show. This is the time to make mistakes. Like this, they're still very, very young enough. If they're young enough to make mistakes in a safe way, you really have to think about the safety of it all. And what types of decisions are we talking about? Life-altering decisions what type of decisions are we talking about? And if they make a mistake, what's the worst that can happen? You know what I'm saying? And is it safe to do this thing? It's all safety being the first priority, as it often is, emotional and physical safety. Can we let them make this decision? If they fall and mess up, you know what I'm saying, then how can we bounce back, or is life over as we know it? Literally, there's death involved. So I think it's like, for me, it was important in working through that and the different decisions that I had to try to help the kids through. And it's still tough because you want to be mama bear. But I think honestly, I think reading is fundamental. Having a counselor is fundamental. We learn how to do all of these other things in life through books and through talking to people. And I think it's just important to recognize children as people who need to be guided. You know what I'm saying? And so I think in that regard, and they need to, but I say they're people because they need to be listened to. You know what I'm saying? And having those people around to talk to, the counselor, like a trusted friend, like other parents. There's sometimes I will call myself when I'm going through particular situations. I will call other parents. I will call other parents. This community. I will call other moms who, honestly, some moms who I like what I see going on in result of how they raise their kids, and some who I don't really like what I see, and some in between, just so I create my own little data set of how certain situations were handled. And even then, it's no promise that I'm gonna make the right decision. But at least I feel better in it. I feel like I thought about it. I feel like I didn't just shoot out my mouth, whatever the first thing in my brain was. For certain situations, I try to get counsel. I've tried my hardest to get counsel because I know I don't have all the answers. And I think that's where it starts. You're not, as a parent, you're not the end all be all. The buck can truly stop with you, for real. but you don't have to be the end all be all.
Right. I think that's really solid points. If we were going to say, what are some practical guided tips from a Quandras perspective? Counseling, priority, your emotional and physical safety assessment. It's almost like a assessment check, right? Is your emotional and physical safety at risk? And if so, are we talking about life or death? Or can we bounce back, right? And then the third one is being a learner, a constant learner, reading books, using your resources, and then ultimately community, calling other moms, parents, people who have been through what you're going through or can relate because there are no situations the same, and then creating your own data set to make your decision as a parent. I think those are good guides. That's a good guide, right?
You think so? I think, okay, well, here's hoping.
I guess, look.
Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But
or all in between.
And all in between. At some point, you gotta pray. And that's
but hey, I think that's good. That's a good, well-rounded thing. So I feel like prayer is the constant.
It's the center. It's the thing that's gonna let you sleep at night. It's the thing that's gonna take away some of that fear out of your decision. It's gonna make you be firm and stand 10 toes down in it. And if you make a mistake, as we often do, right? Then it's like,
yep,
I made a mistake. But it's like you didn't sit here and just take a stab in the dark, just throw some noodles on the wall and saw what stuck. You put some thought in it, you put some love in it, you put some prayer in it. That's the biggest thing. If you don't have that community or village directly around you, you don't have counsel, you always have God. You know what I'm saying? You gotta pray and you just gotta go to sleep and let it sit on your heart.
I think that's real. I think that's those are valid, and I think that helps create balance, because it's not saying, hey, this stuff's gonna be easy. Like, you dealing with this, right?
Yeah, it's hard.
And kudos to you. I think you are an expert in being able to provide this level of guidance, because you have, unlike what they've done in Forever, successfully put through someone in college, as well as have someone about to go to college right out of middle school. So I think as a mom, you can speak and stand at 10, maybe 9, 8.5 toes down, because there ain't nobody perfect. I'm gonna give you an 8.5 star for toes down. You can stand on your guided tips and principles, I think.
I'll say it.
Go. I'm just proud of my friend and her parenting style. That's all I'm gonna say.
Thank you, friend. And I'm proud of you because you've been there. You've been one of the people who I have called on, you know what I'm saying, and talked to through some of these circumstances with, or just vent through some of these.
Look, Auntie got an input too. She got an
input. I'm sorry. You've been there at the beginning of all of their lives. So kudos to you. You are you're the village that I'm talking about. When I say get you a village, get you an Elise. No, I'm joking. Get to a village.
Went back in the bushes
in high regard. Elise is booked and busy. I'm sorry, you cannot have her. You cannot. But at the end of the day, you have to get you someone who has a good head on their shoulders. Is what
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Fine, it's important. Well, what can be our affirmation for this episode?
I think that when it comes to parenting, the best thing I could say is the Serenity Prayer.
Good. Lord, please forgive me to accept the things that I cannot change, the wisdom to know the difference.
God, hold on.
You said look it up. Wait, that's a
God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Thank you, because I just messed it up.
It's okay. It's longer than that. I encourage you to go read and listen to the rest of it. But the bulk of it is right there, that we remember that. Yeah,
that's good stuff. That's a great affirmation for this episode. Yeah. Oh, that's good. And we got guided tips from Quan. All right, we doing too much. I know I'm doing too much. That's the boundaries, because she don't like it. It's a boundary. I just went over it. Go back to episode 1 if you want to talk about friend boundaries. That I'm a habitual line stepper on. She don't like Quandizzle for shizzle. But I keep doing it. So I'm gonna stop.
It's in a little sister way that I know is not going to stop it.
Yeah, catch us back here soon for another episode of Queen Beauty. In the meantime, in between time, you can find us on podcast, YouTube. Where we at? You need to find us, because we got a lot of episodes. We don't know how many, but we've been working on that. But at Queen Beauty Podcast, you can find us. All right. So we will see you next time.
Bye. Y'all take care. We'll see you back here soon.